U.S. Army to test 4 new M1E3 Abrams tanks with 1st Cavalry Division in 2026. The U.S. Army's 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team, 1st Cavalry Division, nicknamed the Iron Horse Brigade, will receive 4 new M1E3 Abrams main battle tank prototypes by the end of 2026 for operational evaluation. The trials will place the next-generation Abrams in soldiers' hands to determine whether it can deliver greater mobility, survivability, and battlefield effectiveness while reducing the logistical burden associated with heavy armor. The brigade will assess mobility, protection, sustainment, and crew workload under realistic operating conditions. Army officials detailed the plan at GSET's 2026 Ground Vehicle Systems Engineering Technology Symposium, according to Breaking Defense on August 13, 2026. The results could directly influence the M1E3's final design and shape how the U.S. Army adapts its armored forces for more mobile, dispersed, and contested future combat environments. The delivery will provide the U.S. Army with a platoon-sized group of M1E3 Abrams tank prototypes for testing by an active armored formation. Unlike developmental trials conducted primarily by engineers, operational evaluation with the 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team will show how the new tank performs during maneuver, maintenance, refueling, ammunition resupply, tactical networking, and combined arms operations. For readers examining the differences between the M1E3 Abrams and the M1A2 Abrams, the central distinction is that the M1E3 is being developed as a fundamentally redesigned main battle tank rather than as another incremental upgrade of the existing Abrams. The new Abrams is intended to reduce weight and fuel demand, introduce a more open digital architecture, increase automation, and integrate future protection technologies from the outset. By contrast, current M1A2 SCP variants remain based on an architecture that has accumulated successive upgrades in armor, electronics, and survivability over several decades. The M1E3 should therefore not be understood simply as an Abrams replacement in the conventional sense of abandoning the Abrams family. Instead, it represents the U.S. Army's effort to preserve the Abrams core combat role while creating a lighter, more adaptable, and easier to sustain next-generation tank capable of remaining relevant against drones, precision fires, electronic warfare, and increasingly sophisticated battlefield surveillance. The M1E3 represents a major departure from the current M1A2 SCP Abrams family rather than another incremental upgrade. The U.S. Army decided to pursue the M1E3 after concluding that continued additions of armor, electronics, and protection equipment were increasing the weight and logistical burden of the existing Abrams design. Current M1A2 SB variants retain the traditional 4-person crew of commander, gunner, loader, and driver, while the M1E3 is being developed around greater automation and the possibility of a reduced crew. Early M1E3 configurations have also demonstrated an automatic loading concept, which could allow the U.S. Army to reduce the vehicle's protected internal volume while maintaining the 120mm class firepower expected from an Abrams main battle tank. Weight reduction is one of the most important objectives of the M1E3 program. The current M1A2 SB configuration can exceed 70 tons, depending on armor and mission equipment, creating constraints related to bridges, transporters, recovery vehicles, and tactical mobility. The U.S. Army wants the M1E3 to reduce that burden significantly, improving the ability of armored formations to maneuver across infrastructure that may not support the heaviest existing Abrams configurations. This is also where the M1E3 versus M1A2 comparison becomes operationally significant. A lighter M1E3 could improve route flexibility, bridge access, strategic transport, recovery operations, and maneuverability in terrain where the weight of current Abrams tanks can constrain commanders, while still preserving the protection and direct fire capability expected from a U.S. Army main battle tank. The M1E3 is also expected to introduce a new propulsion approach compared with the AGT 1500 gas turbine used by current Abrams tanks. The U.S. Army has been evaluating hybrid electric technologies intended to reduce fuel consumption and increase the electrical power available for sensors, protection systems, communications equipment, and future electronic systems. Lower fuel consumption would directly improve combat endurance. M1A2 units depend on a substantial fuel and transportation network during high-tempo operations, while a more efficient M1E3 could reduce the number of refueling movements required to sustain an armored brigade and decrease the exposure of logistical convoys to artillery, drones, mines, and long-range precision fires. Survivability is another area in which the M1E3 is intended to differ from the current Abrams. Rather than relying primarily on additional passive armor, the U.S. Army is developing the new tank around an integrated combination of armor, sensors, active protection systems, electronic countermeasures, and reduced vehicle signatures.